Hello, welcome. Will Perry here for another discussion, keeping the conversation alive. Do subscribe if you haven't already to the daily Monday to Friday videos. So today, vegan, is it a step too far? What that was about, and how to make the switch surprisingly easy when you know why. Why what? Well, let me tell you. So if you're vegan already, how cool is that? Or if you're struggling, I'd love to hear from you. But if you found it easy, I'd love to hear from you. If this resonates with you, I'd love to hear from you. So, is vegan a step too far? Are you feeling like that? It is, because in my previous video, I talked about what a fad it is, and is it one that's going to disappear? I kind of don't think so, but maybe we all think that when fads are there, it's like, oh, this is the next big thing, and it's going to stick and be here forever. And I said in that video that maybe we'll find out in a few years that McDonald's solves the mental health and physical health and sustainability problems of the world, but everything is pointing towards vegan at the moment. So many of us find being consistent for ourselves, not consistent in a job, not consistent for others, not consistent for ourselves, almost impossible. It's 80% of us, to some degree or other, will find being consistent, doing something for myself, for example, is almost impossible. If you look at diets, it's a massive industry, the health and well-being industry, because it relies on us not being consistent, not being able to fulfill our own destiny, our own promises to ourselves, our own hopes and wishes for ourselves. So diets, the failure rate on diets, exercise, I mean, that's a huge industry. Come the subscription time of year for gyms, massive peak in January, massive fallout 6 weeks later. The stats are there. You can go and look at them. They're fascinating. Exercise, sticking to being consistent in exercise for ourselves. Sometimes just saying no. Just saying no for ourselves with friend. A friend is saying, "Oh, can you do that? Can you do that?" Asking for things when you think, "No, you lazy bugger. So if you're always asking." Yeah, okay. Saying no can be such a difficult thing when you put yourself into situations where you don't want to, and sometimes that's more dangerous. I don't want to open a Pandora's box, but women particularly opening themselves to situations and getting themselves into situations where they're physical danger and emotional danger. I specialise in emotional and physical abuse, and that often leads to sexual abuse. So if it hasn't already in your early childhood, so that's the Pandora's box, and maybe you know about that whole stuff. So saying no is all linked into this stuff, all right, because it all links into self-esteem. So the thought sometimes for many people, I believe, and I'd love to hear your feedback, of going vegan, it's just too difficult, too much, because you can't even say no. You can't even stick to a diet. You can't even consistently do exercise. You can't do stuff for you, and that's the key in this, for you. All right. So you want to be vegan for the world, for the planet. You get all that, maybe. If you've done the exercise, if you've explored and looked into all the documentaries and all that, the issues, and you'd love to do it, but it's a bit of a step too far for you. All right. And this is the bit I wanted to speak to you about, because it's that you can't stick to anything. That's really difficult, but you behind it, you support it, but you can't stick to it because it's about you. So what you need to do is solve that problem first. That's here, because we are generation trapped. I talk about this a lot. So you might have seen me talking about generation trapped. We get stuck with the superficial surface issues when there's a deeper one that we don't, and people don't point towards. This I wish people pointed me towards it, 13 years ago when I first really got stuck. But it wasn't there. This issue wasn't there. And it's like, how come I'm hitting this stuff? And I didn't even know it was called that at the time. But now, looking back in hindsight, I know what the issue is. And I know how to go through it and transition through it and help people transition through it themselves. That's why I created my program. But solve this issue first, and then you can transition easily into whatever you want to do, be it this fad of veganism, or sticking to your diet, or sticking to your exercise, being able to say no to people and do what you want to do rather than compromising yourself. Why do I always do that? Well, I know why. So I'd love you to engage in this conversation. Message me in whatever way, email me, whatever it is. Get in contact, because if this resonates with you, then there's a whole world that I want to open up to you. It's all about in here. So what we can do is transition. Once we solve this problem, we can transition into easily doing something consistently for us, be that veganism, for example. And watch the videos that we've got in our free group, because when you're ready, it's a great motivator to look at the animal cruelty or the sustainability issues that are documented in the programs really well. Better than I'd ever want to do or could do. It's all there for you, including what happens in the literally bloody slaughterhouses. What happens to the animals when they're prepared and created to be there conveniently at the supermarket for you, on the shelves, so you can have a convenient dinner that you don't need, because you can get alternatives, plant-based alternatives that do away with the whole sustainability issue of putting resources into an animal to slaughter it and eat it and package it to eat it, rather than just growing a plant that you doesn't have to be slaughtered or fed as much water, or certainly doesn't have to be fed the food, and certainly doesn't have to go to the slaughterhouse, and certainly doesn't have to go through the cruelty and all of that. So once you educate yourself, because we turn a blind eye to that. What's a blind eye? Like that, maybe. We turn a blind eye. We avoid the reality to be able to have an easy life, to be consumers. We do that, and that's normal. That's absolutely natural. But once you're wanting to make this transition, those videos are very useful. They're great levers, but they're dangerous as well, in terms that if you haven't changed your mindset first, the real problem, let me tell you again, the real problem, if you're not sorting out the real problem, what you're going to do by watching these programs is just make yourself feel more guilty and feel worse, because A, you won't be able to change, and B, you know what the animal's going through and everything, and you'll feel overwhelmed and guilty and just bad. And I don't want that for you. When you're ready, these documentaries are awesome at being leverage for you for understanding and making that move, motivation to make that transition. Otherwise, it'll just make you feel bad and guilty, and I don't want that for you. So my invitation to you, how are we doing on time? 7:20, that's good. Invitation to you is to take the test. Okay, take this test. It's a 2-minute online and completely confidential. I don't see the results. Confidential test, 2 minutes long. All online. I've automated it, so it's really easy. Find out whether you have a score of 15 or less, 18 or less, I'd say, because that confirms that you've got this issue here, which you'd need to solve first, really, to be able to be consistent for yourself. If you see my point, there it is. It'll confirm the issue, and then obviously you need to take action. It's no good just knowing, oh yeah, I knew I was, again, that's just going to make you feel worse and guilty, and I don't want that for you. Then you need to take action on the real issue. And again, I've got a program on that and how to take you through that transition process. And what it will do is transform your life. If you take action on it, it will transform your life. Because guess what? You're going through your life saying no, not unable to say no. And you'll be able to say no. You'll be able to be consistent. You'll be able to stick by the decisions that you choose for yourself. And that will help you change your life rather than sabotage. I don't know why I said it like that. Rather than sabotage your life, where you hold yourself back because you think you're not worthy, you think you're not good enough, you think you can't, you think you're not blah, 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 blah. All that crap we say to ourselves. It's just crap. So the start of the journey is to take the test to find out whether this issue is with you and within you. And yes, you can change it. I thank you. How many minutes was that? 8 minutes 54. All right. Many thanks. Loves you, boyo, and goodbye.